Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Before we begin, the Grandel Wrestling Podcast would like to salute our partners who make all this possible. First, the St. Louis Kings of the Calzone, sauce on the side in the Grove. You can't go wrong with the Pancho Villa or one of their dessert calzones. There is an art to this dish, and there is one master artist of the calzone, sauce on the side. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. We'd also like to welcome the newest member of our family, the Southwest Diner. Serving up diner staples and foods of the American Southwest, Southwest Diner has been a favorite of locals and visitors alike since 2012. If you're into the classics, you can't go wrong with the biscuits and homemade sausage gravy. You like spice? Dig into Jonathan's famous fiery scramble. They also do an excellent smash burger. You gotta check it out. The crispy edges are amazing. Now offering delivery, curbside pickup, and a brand spanking new patio. There are plenty of safe and enjoyable ways to get your Southwest Diner fix. And now, on with the show. Hey there, wrestling fans, and welcome back to another edition of the Grandel Wrestling Podcast. Ben Simon here, and this week I have a guest who's an up-and-comer in the area. We know him now in Glory Pro, the Southern Flamingo Kody Lane. Cody, welcome to the show.
Hello, what's up?
Hey, I was checking out your social media today, and I love how at the very top on Twitter you have, what do you call it, the flamingo salt?
Yeah, the flamingo salt. Yeah.
That is freaking awesome, man. The springboard moonsault from the middle of the ropes on the opponent. How'd you come up with that?
So, I was practicing it, and I was doing them both-legged. Yeah. So I was just doing like a big lion salt. I call it like a mountain lion salt. Mm-hmm. And then actually the person who told me to do one-legged is Dan the Dad.
Oh.
So Dan the Dad said, try it one-legged, because I started doing it off the middle rope.
Because you're a flamingo.
Because I'm a flamingo. Flamingos are always on one leg. So I did it. It maybe took like a week to really get down. The one leg went off the top rope, and I just started doing it ever since.
Very cool. Well, you've gone through an evolution so far, like so many others, finding yourself as an in-ring competitor. And I want to talk today about the evolution of Kody Lane.
For sure, yeah.
It used to be known as Cody Crash at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
How'd you get started in wrestling?
Okay, so I'm originally from Oklahoma.
Savannah, Oklahoma. And then when I turned 18, I lied to my mom and then said, I got to move to Austin because that's the best wrestling school in the world, is Austin, Texas. So I moved down there and I started training down there. And it's Anarchy Championship Wrestling, ACH, and those kinds of folks?
Yeah, so ACH helped train me. So I started with AAPW, America's Academy of Pro Wrestling. Mm-hmm. And about 6 months into that, ACH was from that school as well. So he came in, and then me and him started becoming buddies, and he kind of started taking me under his wing and training me there. So, and then I started doing ACW, and then ACW, and then another place in San Antonio called RCW. So those were the two places I was kind of working my first year in wrestling.
So what did your mom say when she found out that it maybe wasn't the world's best wrestling school, but hey, you're making strides?
Right. So my uncle lives in Austin, and I was like, I'll live with him, and I'll go to the best wrestling school. I just kept saying that because maybe it'll just click in her head. I was like, okay, it's the best one. Yeah. So we went down there. So we went there, and she's like, well, I'm going to come down there with you and check it out before you even move. So we drove down there 6 hours. And then it was behind a furniture store in this little loading dock. That's where the ring and school was and everything. And then when we got done, we walked out, and she was like, what the hell was that? And I was like, that's it. That's the best wrestling school ever. And then she said, I can't move down there until I get a job. So I applied for Gold's Gym, and I drove 6 hours down there just for an interview. And they said, when can you start? I said, whenever you hire me. So, and they hired me. Well, yeah, 3 days later, they called me.
How old are you at this time?
I'm 18.
Okay.
Just turned 18.
And what are we talking, 2013, 14?
2014.
Okay.
So, graduated high school, turned 18 in June, and then moved to Austin that August.
So you're having matches in Austin. You're making your way to start. Who was so instrumental in your development in those very early years? Could you pick one or two people?
People down in Texas?
Yeah.
ACH, JoJo Bravo, and Ricky Starks.
All guys we know here in St. Louis.
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. Yeah, those guys. So funny enough, when my first day of training was taking down the ring because their lease was up in that furniture store. So I didn't see a pro wrestling ring for 3 months. So I trained in a baseball park, or in a park in a baseball field.
Yeah.
So, and then that's where I met Ricky Starks, because he was like teaching us how to like lock up and do all like the basic stuff.
I know that Anarchy Championship Wrestling used to have a relationship with St. Louis Anarchy, and in turn, St. Louis Anarchy had a relationship with Greg Jovi and the Pro Wrestling Championship Series, and that's where you made your debut in St. Louis. Am I right?
Yeah. So in 2000, I think 15, when ACH got signed to Ring of Honor exclusively, he was moving back down to Austin. So he's like, if you come up here and help me move down, I can get you on St. Louis Anarchy. So first it was St. Louis Anarchy, and then like 6 months later, I came back up with JoJo Bravo and did PWCS for Greg.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So were those long trips worth it to you?
Absolutely.
So what were some of the highlights from
Some
the
of the
Anarchy?
highlights. So my first time going, I traveled up with Davey Vega, and I didn't know any of these people, and I was scared to death. But they were all cool and super helpful. So we drove up there because they had a show in Dallas. So I drove up there, and then I got to debut for St. Louis Anarchy. I think this was like at the end of 2015, I believe. I was wrestling just a little over a year. And then I drove the entire way back down 13 hours from St. Louis to Austin with JoJo Bravo and ACH. And then they just told stories like the whole time. So it was like a blast.
Yeah, that's a great learning opportunity. Those road trips, man, that could be a lot of fun.
It's the best, yeah.
And well, you're no stranger to road trips. I'll have to get to that in a moment. But
Yeah.
Where did Daddy Longlegs come from? It used to be called Daddy Longlegs Kody Lane, right?
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Because I just got like super like, I still have like long thin legs, but I used to have long skinny legs, and so they're growing slowly but surely, and like I just started calling myself Daddy Longlegs as a joke, and then ACH was just like, just start calling yourself that, and then started doing it. So every now and then I'll say it again.
There you go.
Yeah.
In 2016, or somewhere about, you embarked on the Canadian Wrestling's Elite Canadian Tour.
Yep.
Right? And that is kind of a successor to the old Death Tours that you might have heard Chris Jericho or Lance Storm talk about in the early 90s.
Yeah.
But they were touring Northern Canada. This is more Southern, but it's still brutal.
Still very brutal. Yeah, those Grandel Death Tours, those were like, I think to get to those like reservations and stuff, they had to drive over like frozen lakes. That's the only way they could get to
Right.
it. So,
and they were going to like Inuit tribes to do these shows.
Absolutely. I wanted to do one so bad, but they weren't doing them when I like towards the tail end of doing those tours. So missed out on those. But yeah, the first one I ever did was in January of 2017. So and funny enough, the day I went to Canada, that was like their coldest like month they've had in like, I think like 50 years. So everything was like -5, -10 degrees. So I did that. So I did 3 tours of them. I did 12 days the first day. And these are all days you wrestle every single day. The second one was in April. I did 16 days. And that third one was in August this is all in the same year. It was 21 days in a row. I wrestled 3 weeks straight.
There's no days off.
No days off.
Events.
No.
At any point, do you just like, it's tough to get out of bed or something? Like, how do you move? How do you do this?
The first tour, I was jazzed. I was like, because ACH was on that tour, so I was like, cool, I'm with like my friend, and this is awesome. Second tour, I started becoming friends with all those other guys, so it was like still cool. And towards the end, I was like, I'm kind of tired. That third one, this is why this one was the worst one. So one of the, I became really good friends with one of the Canadian guys up there. He was like, can I come down to Austin for like 3 weeks to a month, stay there, and then we'll drive up to Canada and start the tour. I was like, let's do it. So we drove from Austin to Winnipeg. That's a 25-hour drive. And then we had a day rest, and then the 21 days tour started.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so brutal. And this CWE, there's so many, if you're an independent wrestling fan, probably on Facebook, you've seen one of these posters and didn't know what you were looking at.
Yep.
The CWE, Canadian Wrestling's Elite, this company has kind of an unusual formula, business formula, where they run such a wide swath of land, territory, and they just have all these different dates, and they just line them up and have a true tour. But all these different markets, I guess you might say, it's hard to imagine around here how something like that would be sustainable, if not monetarily, then just like physicality wise, like keeping up. How did these events draw? Were there lots of fans there?
So the first tour I did in January, a lot of it draw. So, but here's the thing about on like the western side of Canada, what they were telling me, when it snows so crazy up there. So like there's not a lot of activity. You can't do anything outside. So those shows packed out because that's the only thing to do was inside events and stuff. So that first tour was great. Like all the 12 days, like all the crowds were like a couple hundred people. I think the lowest was like 100. So like still pretty good for like Red Deer, Saskatchewan, or Alberta, Canada. So, but that last tour, that was like the tour of hell. So though, like in the summer, everyone was like, I don't want to stay inside. So everyone didn't go to the shows really. So you go to these small town shows, you drive 6 hours to the show. It's like 3 people, 10 people. And if you think we're getting paid, you got another thing coming.
Oh no.
So yeah, it was bad, man. And then we stayed in some hotels that were like, where people just go to die.
Yeah.
Like it was really rough.
Oh my gosh. That's brutal. 3 people. I've never seen that. My low record is 17.
I wrestled in Lockhart, Texas. It was like maybe like my first year, maybe less. I wrestled 8 people. 8 people in the crowd.
I'm sure they were very lively.
Oh yeah. While the promoter was selling merchandise during the matches.
Hey, so wild stuff. Yeah. And it gets even wilder because in 2017, Major Baysden and the National Wrestling League start up here in Missouri. They have a Kansas City. They have a St. Louis office. Well, not really an office, but a company, a promotion.
Yeah.
And that's when I actually first met you. And you were working on several of their cards, I think. You wrestled Jack Foster or Jake Durden.
Yes.
What was your experience with this company? I know you were just a part-timer, but still, it was something quite memorable.
It was, because like that was like when I was like 2017 was when I was really like kind of growing as a wrestler. Like 15, you're new, you're doing just local shows. 16, when I was like, okay, I obviously I wanted to do this for a living, so I'm just like, now I really gotta bust my ass to do this. So in 2017, I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to go everywhere. So I got linked up with NWL through Albert or ACH, and then it was quite the experience, man, because like I never been in front of like big like Titantrons or anything like that, and like Pierre Abernathy was like running it, so like he was always helpful towards like me coming up in the Midwest and stuff. So.
You mentioned ACH linked you up with them. That's kind of odd because I think he only had a couple of matches there.
He only had a couple with them, but since like him and Pierre are so close, he was like, I have a guy down in Texas who's like willing to do the drive and has, I guess, potential could do it. So yeah. I only worked for NWL twice. So that one was with Durden, and I did a 3-way match. It was me, I think his name was Thor in NWL.
Thor Terrio. Thomas, yeah.
And then Bolt Brady.
Bolt Brady, yeah.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah.
There's a lot of memories, positive ones that come to me from the National Wrestling League, even though it was around for itself just a cup of coffee. But you and me both got a lot of good demo reel footage, perhaps, from that company, the big screen and the lights. I mean, like, it doesn't happen that much in indie wrestling.
No, I was like, this is cool. Like, this is not like your typical indie show, because I was always doing like, garage shows in like Texas. So I was like, this is a pretty good bump from what I'm doing.
Did you do any kind of like wheeling and dealing, trying to get on as a full-timer at all?
No, I was always too like scared to like really put myself out there in that way. So I was just like, I'll take anything, and whatever you can give me, I'll just do it.
Yeah.
So, but no, I never like really tried to like politic my way into doing full-time stuff.
Sure.
So,
well, the NWL came, the NWL went, and now St. Louis Anarchy returns to the scene. PWCS is back for just a small while.
Yeah.
And hey, we have a new company at the beginning of 2017 called Glory Pro. Mm-hmm. And you were around, I think, starting in 18 with Glory Pro. But just little appearances here and there, just a name on the undercard.
So I was still living in Austin at that time. Yeah. So like anytime that the Glory Pro would have me on, I would just drive up and I would ask a couple guys to come with me and we just make a road trip out of it. So like I think I worked for Glory Pro like maybe twice that year. And then because like my whole deal was because since I always heard like good things about St. Louis and the Midwest, it's an easy like hub to kind of travel out of. I was really trying to plant seeds here because I always knew in the back of my head I was like, I'm gonna move there. Mm-hmm. So when I moved there, people kind of know my name. So like I started planting seeds there the day ACH had me up there in Anarchy. So from like 2016 to 2019 until I moved up here, I was just those 3 years I was doing like Proving Ground Pro and like Glory Pro when they'd have me up here, and Anarchy when they'd have me up. So it was a slow build up there.
Yeah.
So
changing the market.
Yes.
Transitioning.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell our viewers who may not know, when you're trying to get on one of these cards, and there's no guarantee, you're just networking. What's your hope? Like they just throw you in a 6-way match or a pre-show?
Yeah, anything, honestly, because like there's been times where when I used to drive to AAW, that was 18 hours.
In Chicago?
I would just message AAW or Danny Daniels and say, hey, I'm coming up. If you have anything, great. If you don't, I would just help set up the ring. So I would just drive 18 hours, help set up the ring and everything. Just give me anything at that time,
And if you don't get on the first time, chances are, if you're good, you have potential, they see your face.
Absolutely.
Maybe you get on the second, third, or fourth time.
Yeah, that's the best advice I've ever given. Just go to these shows, help set up. Like, it's going to suck for a while because you're not going to get on. But when you do get on, there's like, well, that guy, helped a lot. And so let's just, give him a chance, give him some shots.
It really is all about networking in wrestling, especially independents. And there's a famous saying that there's not a lot of true friends in wrestling. You might be able to count them on one hand. Who would you say your best friend in wrestling is?
Best friend in wrestling? There's a few of them, there's a guy in Texas named Prince Adam. He's really great. Ethan Price is one of my really good friends. Shane Saber from Toronto.
Oh, man, Shane, I haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah, I just saw him for the first time in 2 years with COVID, since COVID in Toronto last Sunday. Him, Dan the Dad, Warhorse, like Ricky Shane Page, like all those guys I consider like super close friends. So don't get me wrong, there are like, bad people in wrestling, but like I have a lot of good people in my corner.
Specifically here in St. Louis for Glory Pro, I knew you as maybe like a king of the 6-way matches. All the scrambles, as they say. One fall to a finish. You got 6 guys in there, every man for himself.
Absolutely.
Sometimes every woman. And did that ever frustrate you, just being in all those matches, never having any spotlight on yourself?
No, like sometimes, you start to overthink and you're just like, dang, I'm always in 6 ways or stuff like that. And, but like the good thing about those, you get good at those. You know how to because sometimes those 6 ways, they can go wrong. Like when they go wrong, it's the worst match, because you got all these moving parts, all these people. And if one messes up, then it's like a domino effect sometimes.
Yeah.
But, I really started to you start getting these 6 ways. You're like, all right, well, there's 6 people in here. How do you stand out in those? So you may think of a crazy thing to do in that match. You're like, okay, well, if they're not going to remember anything, they're going to remember me. So that's why I started thinking, being a little selfish, but not where you have to corral the whole match. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Everyone gets everything in, but if you have something crazy you want to do, by all means do it.
Right.
You just got to get noticed.
It's a different type of beast.
It is, yeah.
And you won a 6-way cage match, I think, to get a shot at the Midwest Territory title, and Hakeem Zayn, now known as Rohit Raju. Now, I know you faced wrestlers who have been on television before, but at this time, this was a big deal.
Yeah, it was a big deal because I was because that was the beginning of 2020, rough March 3rd. That was my last match for the world shutdown. Actually,
March 1st, 2020. Yep, the last show for most people.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was really looking forward to that because I've always been a fan of Hakeem. He's always been super great to me, and I really enjoyed that match, but that was my last match transitioning into like the Southern Flamingo character.
And I see you're sporting the Southern Flamingo right now.
Bright colors.
I can't even. My eyes can't even register.
They had to turn down all these lights.
So, what's next for you in Glory Pro specifically?
Well,
by the way, that match ended in a disqualification. You did not become the Midwest Territory champion.
I did not.
But there's still the future.
There is still the future. So, I wrestled Ethan Page this year. Been in a couple 4-ways and 6-ways, but I don't know when this comes out. But I am wrestling Alex Zane today. So after that, when I win,
Glory Pro at South Broadway, yeah,
absolutely. I'm trying to look forward to the Glory Pro Championship. Mm-hmm. So whether if Mike Outlaw or Myron Reed, whoever has that title, that's what I want next.
Yeah. Well, it's a good expectation. Goals, incremental goals is a great thing. Mm-hmm. I saw on Twitter the other day, I'm on wrestling Twitter. I don't know if you know this.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very toxic place, but I'm kind of dabbling. And there are these cats, they give their hot takes.
Absolutely.
I saw a hot take the other day.
Okay.
And the hot take was, WWE is releasing so many wrestlers now, just in mass, every quarter, that is it even a wrestler's ultimate goal to get to WWE now, especially with All Elite Wrestling and, say, Impact and the NWA? Mm-hmm. What do you see as your ultimate goal?
It's kind of weird because, like, the ultimate goal is just to wrestle full-time. Like, that's what I want, wherever that may be. I'm not, like, fishing for a contract because, like, I don't want to be someone who just says, like, I have a contract just to say you have it, wherever I end up, if it's WWE or AEW or where, I would be happy to go anywhere. It's unfortunate that people get released from WWE. It really is, because just they get signed and they're there for 9 months and they uproot their life and then they just get kicked back down. So that's very unfortunate.
9 months might be generous for some of them.
Yeah, 9 months is generous. Yeah,
it might be 2 months. It might be less. Like, did you guys actually even want me down here?
Yeah,
Florida?
no kidding.
Like, come on. I think it's just an issue of the left hand not communicating with the right. In
Absolutely,
WWE.
yeah.
It's a big company.
Yeah, for sure.
So we talked a little bit about the pandemic. The world shut down, and different wrestlers handled this differently. And I couldn't find any record of you having a match for about 6 months at least. Yeah. What do you do after that March 1st, 2020 Glory Pro show?
So after that, I think WrestleMania weekend was the next show I was going to have, and then that shut down.
Yeah, so I remember that. It was the next show all of us were going to.
Yeah, we were all looking forward to it. So, after that happened, everything shut down. Me and my girlfriend at the time, now wife, I was just like, well, this is the opportunity just to switch gears and try to do something different and come back. Because I was feeling stagnant with myself anyways, and I kind of knew that. So I was like, something's got to change. And I'm actually thankful that the pandemic happened, because I was just like, cool, I can just focus on this and not this and wrestling and, stressing out about both of them.
What was this?
So I was, before I started doing this, actually kind of who I am, just a really flamboyant redneck. So I was always just like, I always was told just to be yourself out in the ring. Yeah. I never was. I was kind of just like nervous and doing it like just being a very cookie cutter look. Yeah. So then after that happened, I was like, I'm just going to start wearing just like camo, bright, just super bright colors, same crazy stuff and like promos. And I was just like cutting promos, like, on the toilet and then in the shower. And just like, I drove home to Oklahoma and I had one of my friends' just like 4-wheelers and one of his like semi-automatic machine guns. I was like, let's just cut promos and shoot stuff. So like after that, it kind of started to take off from there.
Yeah. So we saw the world's greatest promos from everybody, I think, during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Warhorse.
Oh yeah.
I mean, my God, I think he was just his character really came to its own.
Absolutely.
We're gonna talk to that guy one of these days.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what. I'm looking at you, Jake. All right. Anyway, so the pandemic, as far as wrestling goes, is over.
Yeah.
I'm not being insensitive as far as wrestling goes, and we're back in action.
Yeah.
And big things are happening for you, you know, incrementally still. But recently at AEW Rampage in St. Louis, we waited like a year and a half for this show. You were in the ring. You teamed with
Luke Langley.
Luke Langley, out of Kansas City, against Jake Hager and Sammy Guevara. For one of the Dark shows.
Yeah.
And whenever Justin Roberts announced your name, the first thing I thought was, "Oh man, that's great! It's Cody, and I know these guys. And why is your name Coco
Lane?
They called you Coco Lane.
So there can only be one Cody, I think.
Oh,
so that's what I was told.
Yeah.
And then I was like, that's totally fine. I'll change it immediately because, like, you know, I'm not gonna fight with anybody.
No.
So you know, it's so funny because, like, you know, my name is Cody.
Yeah.
So my mother and some people in my family, they'd always call me Coco, and I was like, I'll just use that.
Sweet.
So when they said that, they're like, okay, they just used it, and I was like, that's perfect. Like, I'm fine with that.
So, did Cody himself tell you that?
Cody did not tell me that.
Oh, okay. Man, I was looking for something juicy.
I know. No.
So how do you get this gig? How do you get on? Because we saw some local talent in there, but I'm sure that not everyone who wanted on could get on. I mean, space is limited.
You know, I got an email from the person who like runs like the Dark, like coordination and everything. I got some help through a close friend, and they gave me some contacts, and I just sent them an email, like, hey, I'm available for these days. And then like 2 weeks later, I got the email saying I was, available for like the Kansas City and the St. Louis shows. So
you worked the independent show on AEW Dynamite. Were you on that?
No, so I did. I was just there backstage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was there, and then I did Dark Elevation in St. Louis that Friday. So it was a cool week. It was very fun. Were
you nervous going out there?
So I thought I was gonna be super nervous. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna look like blank faced out there. But when I got out there, I was like, I felt fine.
Cool.
I was like, I looked around, and I was like, I'm not as nervous as I thought it would be.
I know so Chaifetz Arena, I don't know the exact attendance numbers, but it holds about 10,000. Yeah. I know they pre-sold 5,000, and it looked like most of the seats were definitely sold there.
I only saw like one section of like 60 seats that people weren't sitting in.
Right.
So.
It is like behind the camera too.
Yeah.
So like, that had to be the biggest crowd you worked in front of, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The only crowd before I worked that was bigger was was for the crash in Tijuana, Mexico. It was like 4,000 people.
Yeah.
And then, and it was like in a dome. So like you'd be dead quiet and you're just like, oh, people aren't reacting. But it's like the sound traveled up. Yeah. So like you'd hit a move and it'd be dead quiet. And you're whoop, like that. And then just go dead silent again.
It's a weird crescendo.
It was weird. Yeah.
I didn't know you worked for the Crash. It's one of the biggest companies in Mexico.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I did that back into 2018, actually. Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. It was really cool.
Well, okay, so we're getting to the end of our show, and I warned you about what I was going to ask you.
Oh, yeah, I got one.
We're talking about the wrestling horror story. It's a tradition here on the Grandel Wrestling Podcast where we want the baddest, the maddest, the saddest, from the locker room, the ring, or the road. What do you have for us today, Kody Lane?
So, this is the last tour, the Tour of Hell, the 21-day tour of CWE.
We're back in Canada.
We're back in Canada. Picture it. And we are somewhere in, I think, Alberta or Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan, because we almost got our car hijacked. So it's
which always happens in Saskatchewan.
It's always happens because Saskatchewan is a very dangerous Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. That's where we were at. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that was a dangerous place.
So, at least where we were. Okay. So, Tony Kozina, if some Midwest St. Louis people will know him.
Absolutely.
He was on those tours.
He's a legend.
He's awesome. I love Tony.
Is he in like New Zealand now?
He's in New Zealand training for Fale's dojo.
Yeah,
which is great.
What a great guy Tony Kozina is.
So people are gonna love him really after this too. So there's a guy on the tour. I'll leave him nameless. He was kind of not fun to be around sometimes.
He was a dick.
He was a dick. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if I could say dick.
I think that's about as far as we can go.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So Tony is an older man, so he doesn't like to party and stay out. And I'm 20 at this time. We're 21, so we're just, wanting to go out and party and drink. Mm-hmm. So Tony's like, hey, I'm getting tired. Can we head back? I was down. I was like, yeah, let's go. Like, Tony's the veteran. Let's go. So the guy who shall name nameless comes up. He said, no, we're going to party here. you have to stay here. Like, too bad, pretty much. You can't leave.
Now, to put things in perspective, Tony Kozina is not an imposing figure.
He's very short.
Yes.
He's 5'5" on a good day.
So how big is this dickish person?
My height. Okay. 6'2".
So he might think he can maybe push Tony around.
Probably so. I guess at that time, I think that guy probably had some drinks in him too. So we closed down the bars like 2 or 3 in the morning, and like we all go in the back parking lot to party still, because like the bartenders were cool, and there's like, let's just go out and drink. So Nameless, we'll just call him Nameless. We traveled in his van on this tour. It was a big red van. It's like 4 in the morning now. We're all hanging out, having a good time. We see a van going like 60 miles an hour around this corner. And we're like, is that your van? Nameless, we'll call him Travis. His name's Travis. So
may or may not be Travis.
It may not be Travis. Well, Travis, is that your car? Pulls up. Boom. Just gets out to Tony Kozina. Tony Kozina slams the door, opens it, and repeatedly slams it and closes it. Breaks it off the hinge.
Oh, no. How cold is it outside?
It's like, Fahrenheit-wise, probably like 30 degrees.
Okay.
It's freezing. Then Tony Kozina starts TNA or spin kicking the sliding van door. Just crushes it. He's kicking it in. He's just like donkey kicking it, spin kicking it, everything, right? We're like, what? Like, I'm laughing, and like he comes up to Travis, spits in his face, pulls his pants down. He says, I'm ready to party. Let's party. He said, you guys want to party so much? Let's party. So Tony's like pushing people, and like with his pants around his knees, he's like, let's party. Let's effing party. I'm ready. Gets the keys, throws them in the pasture.
Oh my God. You'll never find him.
Well, yeah, I don't know how they found him.
Oh my gosh.
So then they just like, they start getting each other's faces, and like Travis backs off. Tony's like screaming at him, this and that. They finally get Tony in a car to leave, right? And we're like, whoa, what's happening? And then all fights start breaking out in the parking lot amongst other people, because I guess that got people pretty jazzed up. The next day happens. Tony acted like nothing happened, and we didn't talk to him about it. We didn't say a word to him about it.
Now he wasn't like blackout drunk.
He didn't have a drink. He didn't have a drink. He came up to me. He gave me a hug the next day. He's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "What's up?" Like, you know. So like he was super calm and chill. So then it's me, Tony Kozina, Shane Saber, and Kelly Klein all in a car. We're all driving. It's dead quiet. So I think Kelly's like complaining about Travis a little bit, and we're like, yeah, it sucks. He's kind of being like this, and like,
is there no door on this vehicle at this time?
We're in another car.
Okay.
Yeah, that he still drove. He had to drive that car around, and it was broken in. We started calling him T-Bone Tony Kozina because it looked like a car T-boned this van.
It's like Grand Theft Auto. You're just attacking the vehicle with a baseball bat.
That's what it looked like. It was just dented in like that. So then it's just dead quiet. Tony's not saying anything while people are complaining about Travis, and it's dead quiet. And we're like, yeah, he sucks. And he's like, yeah, why'd you think I had to beat the shit out of his car? And then we all started laughing and talking about it. And then he was like, yeah, I don't care. I'm not apologizing. Like, I don't care. So yeah, Tony's the man for that. I love Tony so much for that.
Man, that sounds like Tony. Fortunately for me, I never pissed him off that much whenever we were driving. So that's to my benefit. Well, Cody, how can the fans follow you on social media?
Yeah, so Twitter, Instagram, it's all very Kody Lane. That's the tag, and then just Kody Lane as the handle. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to put over my social media here for just a moment. You know, I am in the cesspool of wrestling Twitter right now. I'm doing the best I can navigating the waters. It's very, very tough. But you can follow me on Twitter at @TheBenSimon. The show is on Twitter at Grandel Wrestle, and we're on Instagram at Grandel Wrestling. Anyway, so today's show was produced, as always, by Joey O'Farrell. Ryan Torpilla is at the controls as the engineer. I want to talk about Midcoast Media. That's where we're at right now. Midcoast Media here in Midtown St. Louis. You should talk to Chris Denman, the owner of this this business, if you want to do your production here, because there's really nothing like it. You can do your podcasts, your shows, you can do little sketches here. Yeah, they've got everything. They got the cameras, the lights. So give them a call, Midcoast Media, Midcoast Studios here in St. Louis. All right. Well, Cody, thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to see how you come out more as a singles competitor, a single star, especially in St. Louis.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right. Until next time, this has been Simon saying so long from the Show Me State.